Alright, hey, welcome back everybody. This is going to be our second video on rationalizing denominators, and we're going to pick up right where we left off at the end of the first video. There's a section of problems here called rationalizing the numerator. And realize that we can never rationalize both the numerator and the denominator simultaneously. If we have something that's, unrationalized, we're going to end up with, we can only pick one of the two. We will always pick rationalizing the denominator, and there's a pretty big reason for that kind of predates all of us mathematically, but there's a pretty big reason why we chose to rationalize denominators in general instead of numerators. But we can rationalize the numerator. We're going to do a couple of examples of it here. It's just not something that we do very often. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify these as much as I can. And if I think about, prime factorizations of these, 18 is 2 times 3 times 3, and 75 is 3 times 5 times 5. And so that means that if I want to rationalize the numerator of this, I've got a 3 in here. Well, I guess I can go ahead and simplify this first. That's 3 root 2 over 5 root 3. And now if I want to rationalize the numerator, that means I want to get rid of the square root of 2 in the numerator. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply numerator by square root of 2. And then I'll multiply the denominator by the square root of 2 as well. And that gives me 3 times 2 in the numerator, and 5 times square root of 3 times square root of 2 in the denominator, and that all simplifies to 6 over 5 root 6. And I've got a rational numerator when I did not have a rational numerator to begin with. Alright, next one. Ooh, part B, the third root of 3a over the third root of 7b. So to rationalize my numerator here, I need to make my radical here whole, and so I need 3 of each factor since this is a cube root. So I'm going to take the cube root of, I've got 1 3, so I need 2 more 3's to make that root come out evenly. I've got 1a, so I need 2 more a's to have that root come out evenly. That's all 9a squared. All right, and so my numerator becomes 3a, and my denominator becomes the third root of 63a squared b. And there, that expression is with a rationalized numerator. Like I said, we can rationalize the numerator. It's just not something we do a lot. But that gives us a little bit more practice working with radicals, which we're going to do all the time when we're rationalizing the denominator. Suppose we do this with the numerator here, a numerator with 2 terms. Just like when we were rationalizing denominators with 2 terms, we're going to want to use the conjugate. So we're going to multiply this by the square root of x minus 5, because that is the conjugate of square root of x plus 5. We also multiply the denominator by that in order to preserve the value of the fraction. And then we're going to go ahead and multiply these things out. In the numerator, I've got square root of x plus 5 times square root of x minus 5. And in the denominator, I've got 3 times the quantity square root of x minus 5. If you haven't picked up on this by now, the conjugates, you can, when you multiply them together, you can just calculate them by taking the first terms and multiplying those together, and taking the last term, and taking the last terms and multiplying those together. I almost just shut down my presentation software in the middle of a sentence there. And there's a variable expression that has now a rationalized numerator. All right, on to the last page. Some practice problems for you here. And below those, even more practice problems. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go ahead and complete this first batch, and then we're going to come back and look at the answers to those. And then I'm going to give you another timeout to complete the second batch, and then we'll come back and look at the answers of those. So go ahead and pause your video now and come back to me when you're finished with parts A, B, and C of this first example. Okay? See you when you come back. All right, and there are the solutions to those practice problems. Take a look at those, make sure you understand what's going on. And when you are ready, you should go ahead and pause the video. You can pause the video to look at those answers a little longer if you'd like to, but then pause the video and do the 3 problems in the next section. And then when you're ready to look at those, go ahead and unpause and come back. All right, and we're back, and there are all the solutions to the practice problems there on rationalizing the numerator, and all the numerators are rationalized, and everything is simplified. Okay, looking down at the rest of this, you have a summarizer question. Go ahead and answer that, and then you can start working on your homework. Your homework is on page 448, 5 to 80, multiples of 5 only, and this challenge problem right here to solve that equation for x. All right, that takes us to the end of this video, and we'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.